Hi, Abby.
Hello, Emily.
How are you today?
I'm I'm doing okay, I guess. A little nervous coming in for my first session.
Yeah. Have you been to therapy before? Is this your first time?
This is my first time. Yeah, so a new experience.
Yeah. It can be hard to really not know what to expect. I am just really today is just kind of learning more about you, why you're coming in, and then us kind of collaborating throughout our sessions to kind of figure out how we can, meet your needs. Okay.
Yeah,
Um, so what brings you in today?
well, my husband's kind of, I wouldn't say recommended, but a little more strongly than that, wanted me to come in to talk to someone, um, I guess, about my drinking.
Okay.
I don't feel like it's a problem. I have people I know and in my family who I feel like drink pretty heavy or drink like hard liquor, who get angry and irritable. But I don't do that. I just enjoy wine at the end of the day, and it kind of, I feel like it helps me relax a little bit. And yeah, so, but I think I don't know, to my husband, he thinks it's more of an issue. So
Okay. So you don't really see it too much as an issue. You're kind of using it just to kind of wind down and relax at the end of the day, but it is causing some, I guess, discord within your marriage.
yeah, yeah, exactly. I feel like you nailed it. I guess I see people who drink and it like the really bad effects, but I feel like the reason why I drink is that I feel like it helps me be more like the Abby who I used to be a little bit before kids. Help me unwind, and it's been from the hard mothering, I guess, in the days.
Yeah, definitely motherhood can be very hard. Um,
Yeah.
so sounds like maybe using it a little bit to kind of like, uh, I guess, de-stress a little bit.
Mhm.
Um, is there any sort of like mood changes that you've noticed? Either, any like depression or anxiety,
Mhm.
anything like that, like low mood or anything like that, that you might be trying to use the alcohol for?
I mean, I feel like when I have a few glasses of wine, um, I feel like it makes my maybe like the feelings I feel about still being a stay-at-home mom, makes those kind of go away a little bit, and I feel more content, I guess, in what my life looks like now. So maybe some sadness, and I feel like drinking kind of makes me not feel that as much,
Okay.
especially when I'm hanging out with people and friends. Like I feel like it makes me definitely fun Abby kind of comes out.
Okay. And when you say, I guess if you could elaborate a little bit more on the staying at home component of that, like is there like regret in there, or what exactly is that kind of resolving? And then for the social aspect,
Mhm.
is that like a judgment of like what your friends might think of you because of, is that related to the stay at home part?
Yeah. Um, well, I guess I just never pictured my life looking like this per se. Not that I didn't want to have kids. I love my kids, but I didn't, I guess I had a different picture of what my life would be like, what job I would do, and kind of wanted to move up sort of that corporate ladder of sorts. But when I was pregnant with my first, it was a hard birth, and it took a long time to recover. And the time I thought I would stay home, I needed more. And I think there was definitely like I felt blue after that. And then getting pregnant again after, it just was easier to stay home in that time. So I think, yeah, like I think I just, it's been, you know, a little while now, and it helps me not feel a little bit of, I don't know if it's shame per se, but just that I didn't go back to work.
So almost as if you're kind of stuck in a rut or something like that.
Hmm. Yeah, like I can't quite see the like how I could get my job that I had back, right? Like there's already people that have more experience, and like the resume gap is hard. So like this is kind of just what I have in my life right now. And so it just kind of helps me be okay with it, or not grumpy all the time or resentful. I feel like it helps me not be resentful.
Okay, resentful.
Mhm.
Kind of numbs that a little bit.
Yeah, it does, definitely. And then like when I'm hanging out with other mom friends, or you know, they drink wine too, and it's nice to be with other women that kind of get it. And you know, and you definitely drink a bottle and then another bottle gets poured out and we're all pouring it. It just ends up drinking more in those moments.
So in like a social setting, it kind of feels like this is okay, this is what everyone's doing, and then it feels like it maybe gets a little bit out of your control.
Yeah, I guess yeah, I mean, I just want to be like a fun friend. And uh that's kind of seems how it goes, ends up being that way. I mean, I don't feel like I'm a bad mom in those moments. I mean, the next morning I do, like, if the kids wake up early, it's very hard to get up. But yeah, I just feel like it's kind of the culture, and it's friends, and everyone drinks wine, and it's not like I'm drinking really hard alcohol or anything. So but I think it is, I mean, my husband obviously is bothered by it. So
Yeah. So I know you said you might feel a little bit hungover the next day after
mm,
you've been drinking. Any
mhm,
other like symptoms? Are you ever like blacking out, or
mm,
like anything that kind of results from the
mhm. I don't think I haven't blacked out or anything. I definitely get if I'm, you know, my normal days, I don't feel like I get too hungover. I feel like I'm kind of used to drinking wine now, but those other days when I'm maybe drink more than like, I don't know, like 5 glasses or something, I definitely very hard to get up the next day with a headache. And I'm not my most best, I feel like, mom self in those moments.
yeah, makes you a
Mm.
little tired.
Yeah, yeah, the next day. I mean, so I do feel bad about that a little bit. I wish I want to be one of those moms, right, that like loves her life with her kids that you see on social media, where, you know, they love making all those recipes with their kids and they're so patient, and you know, the ones I'm talking about. But I don't necessarily feel that all the time. Then I kind of feel guilty for feeling that. And then, yeah.
Well, a lot of times the things that are on social media are just clips of the best of everyone's life. So just,
I know that, but then I still feel, right. You
it's
still
hard,
feel,
definitely. So it
yeah.
sounds like you kind of have like a tolerance now at this point, because you're talking about how like during the weekday,
Mhm.
it's you're not feeling as much of the effects. How often are you drinking?
You know, I try like, I definitely drink on the weekends, but I would say I drink maybe like 5 out of the 7 days.
Oh,
Um, like maybe I'll try to say like Monday, Tuesday, you know, I won't drink any, but you know, the next days I'll drink, and I probably drink about like, I don't know, at least 4 glasses. So I guess that's a bottle a night. Yeah.
and it's mainly just wine.
Yeah. I don't know. I just like wine.
Okay.
Yeah.
So about 5 days of the week, you're drinking like a bottle of wine a night, and then
Mhm.
you might drink more than that on the weekends.
Yeah, if I hang out with friends, like we do barbecue on the weekends or after our kids' sporting events or something, I don't know, I guess I start pouring them wine, they start pouring me wine, it ends up being like, I don't know, maybe around 2 bottles, I guess.
Okay. And what is kind of your history with alcohol? Like when did you first start?
You know, I'm raised by, or I was raised by a single mom, and I feel like she worked really hard, but she also, I don't want to be like her. She's not the example I want to set, but she drank a lot, and got mean. And um, I mean, she still got up to go to work every day, which I really respect, that she provided. But I feel like she wasn't the most feeling mom, like comforting. And I feel like I had to kind of give that to my younger sibling. But she was kind of like and that's what I think about when I think of someone who has like a drinking problem per se, like someone who's mean and vindictive and, becomes a different person when they drink. And so I haven't ever wanted to do that. But I think, once like you kind of go off to school and community college and you're exposed to that. I drank some more in college, but it wasn't like a problem. I don't think I was sophisticated enough to like wine or anything back then. But I would say I started drinking more wine after, or needing wine to relax after I became a mom.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So it was definitely in your environment in your
Mhm.
childhood.
Yeah.
Kind of maybe was some like verbal abuse or emotional abuse potentially.
Yeah, it's hard saying abuse, but like looking back and how I would want to talk to my kids, like I would never talk to my kids the way I was talked to. So yeah, like I just think that was, yeah, emotionally like neglectful or maybe verbally abusive. She definitely showed me like what kind of mom I don't want to be. Hopefully I never become that. But yeah, that was definitely our environment and what I don't want to be.
Mhm.
So I think that's part of one of the reasons why I am here and like being okay and not being super offended by my husband asking me to come just because I know how bad it could be. I mean, I don't feel like I'm there, but I don't want it to affect our family or anything.
So I know that you've mentioned a couple of times that your husband has noticed and kind of urged you to come get to therapy. Is there
Mhm.
anybody else in your life who's ever mentioned anything about your drinking?
No, I mean, sometimes my kids like, those little drawing projects for school when they talk about mom's favorite things. They did mention wine one time as my favorite drink. I mean, it was kind of funny. I feel like teachers would laugh about that, but there's a sense of like, oh, you know. But no, I feel like our friend group, they all drink wine a lot. And they haven't said anything.
Okay. Um, we kind of talked about your family history, like your family of origin and alcohol use. Any mental like illness history in your family of origin?
Well, I'm not, my dad wasn't really in the picture, so I'm not really sure about his side of the family tree. Um, but the way my mom talks about like her family growing up, not that she talks about it often, but I think they were kind of more angry, bitter people, which maybe makes sense of why my mom is the way she is. Um, and I don't know. I don't know why my mom drinks so much. If that was because she was depressed because she's being a single mom. It's not like she can talk about it, but maybe. Um, Maybe it was like depression was in there and poverty and what that takes and the toll and not having a dual income. But other than that, I don't think so.
Okay. Um, and What about your any mental illness history for you?
I mean, the only time I felt really down, I would say it was after my um, firstborn with postpartum.
Okay.
I think that's kind of like when I felt pretty depressed and knowing like the recovery like was more of like a traumatic birth and recovery was really difficult and breastfeeding was hard and then no one really talks about that and I you kind of feel like you're not the best mom or it's just not natural to you and that was kind of a darker time for me.
Okay. So some postpartum depression and maybe some I mean, that's first of all like a really big transition. Motherhood is a big transition. So
Yeah.
understandably difficult for you. Um,
Yeah. And I don't feel like I'm there anymore.
but
I don't,
when you really notice that you started drinking a little bit more.
yeah. And I feel like it kind of helps a little bit with those feelings.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, any ways in which you feel like alcohol has affected like any legal issues or anything like that? Any like risky
Mhm.
behavior, recklessness, anything
Mm,
that's ever in your history of drinking?
I don't think so. I mean, if I'm drinking and we're at a friend's house, my husband usually drives home. He kind of grumbles about it. But I try to be not do that with like if I have to drive the kids or anything. That's usually just kind of at the end of the day. So I don't think that is like a risky behavior or anything, but yeah, I don't think so. Not yet. Hopefully I don't ever do that.
Okay. So no risky, no drinking like during the day or anything like that. It's primarily at night.
I mean, what's the day? Like I would say if it's hot out, white wine at 4 is okay. Or like, once if we're home, if there's like kids, once we're home after the kids' games or kids' activities, I'll usually open a bottle, start cooking and doing that. So I don't think it's in the day per se. It's mostly kind of that end of the day habit, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kind of like whenever you realize that you're in for the day, that there's nothing else that there's no other responsibilities really that you're gonna have to do.
Yeah, I think so.
Um, what is your kind of family dynamics with your both your uh I know you said that your dad wasn't really in the picture.
Mhm.
What's your relationship kind of like with your mom and if you have any siblings, and then your family with your husband and your kids?
Mhm. Hmm. I mean, my younger sibling, I felt like I kind of had to take care of them a little bit more, like at least on the emotional level. I think they resented that later as they got older. But with like my mom, I kind of just wanted to protect them a little bit from my mom's words and when she came home and was drinking. And my mom and I now not close really at all. I mean, I feel like I'll have her over for like one of the kids' birthdays or something, and usually there's some sort of I feel like blow up or the comments happen, and I just don't really want it around my kids so much. But she has that like, well, I'm their grandma sort of thing. And yeah, and so I don't know. We're not that close. Um,
So still a lot of conflict within
yeah,
within the relationship with your mom.
yeah. I mean, she just hasn't changed,
Mm.
and I think now more of having like my own kids, um, I see more of like the problem. Not that I didn't see the problem before, but
It
uh,
opens your eyes a little bit more when you become a parent.
yeah, and you kind of just feel like I want to put a little more boundaries. with that, but yeah, so there's that. And
Point out also the just how like kind of beautiful that is that you were protecting your younger siblings, and how you're also kind of doing that with your own children, like just being a protector and really being there for them. That's
yeah,
really really amazing.
yeah, thanks. I also feel like I have a little bit of resentment, a little bit with that, because I never got to really be me or wanted to be, I got choose what I wanted to do per se. And even with like now knowing I kind of wanted to go back to work, but then I couldn't in recovery. And then now here we are where we're at, it being so long. And I feel like maybe that's kind of my unhappiness or discontent comes a little bit sometimes, where I've always been this role. And then I feel kind of a little bit of shame for thinking that, right? Like, shouldn't I just love being home with my kids, and like doing, they should have a mom like that feels that way. Um, yeah, so it makes all these feelings come up, and I don't like to feel about it or think about it, which is I think why maybe wine is like a coping thing for me.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier about using the wine to kind of get to this level of like fun Abby, and kind of trying to be maybe a somewhat of like how you were in the past. I'm not sure if
Mhm.
that's like, that spot between
Mhm.
like college and having kids or
Mhm.
whatnot. Um, but I do find that interesting that you're kind of drinking to almost like find yourself or explore yourself. You didn't really
Mhm.
have that opportunity growing up.
Yeah, thanks for saying that. I feel that way a little bit, and it's kind of one of those, I feel like I'm here because my husband recommended it, but I also feel like, yeah, like what you said, like I'm exploring myself. It's not a problem. It's actually helping me in, I think. Do I go more days drinking than not? Yes. Do I drink a bottle every time I drink at minimum? Yeah, but I don't feel that I feel like more like it's helping me than not right now, I guess.
Do you notice that you're like craving it, or that at a certain time you're like, "Ooh, I need to have a drink." Like, it's 5.
Yes. Yeah, I do feel that way. Like if I start feeling a little um like stressed, I guess, of the day, like, okay, we have, soccer now, and then, the other kid has to go to gymnastics, and then they come back, and then you have this window of food, and they have to do homework, and it's just like all of the little things we need to do, or and there's the grocery store and all this stuff. It's just like, oh, like I start feeling like,
Like, I need a drink.
yeah, yeah, a little not out of control, but just everything's happening and moving fast, and I just want to like slow it down.
Mhm. Feeling overwhelmed.
Yeah, I think so. But then it's just like kid scheduling, and it's like if I can't handle this, imagine going back to work. Which is, I feel I don't know, I feel sad about that too. Like I can't handle just being a stay-at-home mom without drinking a bottle of wine. Like what if I wanted to go to a job that's like more demanding or something?
Being a stay-at-home mom is an incredibly difficult job. So, you know,
Mhm.
it sounds a little bit like um, your expectation is that it should be a piece of cake and that it should be easy. And it is definitely a very difficult job.
Mhm.
Um, is that something that's preventing you? Like, what are your plans? Are you planning on going back to work? Like, or is there something, is this potentially something that's preventing you from exploring
Mm.
that?
I haven't thought about it if it's preventing me. I feel maybe what's preventing me is I'm scared to put myself back out there.
Mm.
Like, what do I like? I've kind of sat down with the resume and I'm like, what do I put on here? Like this, big time gap on there. And I guess I feel a little insecure
Okay.
a little bit. So I just haven't, yeah, scared to kind of go back. And I think I want to. Yeah, I think I want to. My kids are getting older, so I have more time in the day, but yeah, I'm a little intimidated and insecure.
Okay. Do you, um, so maybe, using alcohol a little bit for the stress and the pressure of everyday life, but also maybe you kind of talked a little bit earlier about some shame. So maybe
Mhm.
it's a little bit more of like an insecurity or
Mhm.
I don't know if socially do you find that you need to drink so that you're presenting yourself a certain way so that you seem more fun, you seem
Mhm.
more relaxed or more confident or anything like that?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's basically everything you said. I agree with. I want when I want people to know me or see me, I want them to like see the best me, right? Of
Mhm,
uh, someone who's confident, someone who's outgoing, someone who's happy. And I want to be that person that walks in the room and is kind of like a little gloomy or down or, you know, I don't want people to remember me that way.
mhm,
Like my mom, when she came into the room, it was like everyone wanted to go the other way. I don't want people to feel that way.
mhm. So a lot of pressure to be your best self and to present your best self at all times.
Yeah, definitely. And then like that, yeah, and so when I'm drinking with people, it definitely feels that way. And then when I'm at home drinking, it's just maybe it's definitely helps me with my stress on the other side.
Okay. Um, what um, what kind of uh, conversations, I guess, have you and your husband had regarding this? Has it been an issue for a while or
You know,
something new?
I don't know if, oh, I don't know where it started. I guess for a little while, like it started with little comments, or like if I'm opening another bottle or something, like a look that I'll see him give me, or like, you get headaches, that next one. And which wasn't, I mean, it's annoying me now, those little looks. And I think we've talked about it or kind of gotten arguments about it where I'm like, I just don't want you to bring it up. Like, this is like my, like one thing I have, right? That like helps me. And I don't want to feel bad for it.
Mhm.
And yeah, so we've had like those sort of arguments. Um, yeah, and I think when it comes to now and me coming to counseling now, when it comes down to it, is I want my family to be well. And since it's becoming a thing with him, I don't want my kids to pick up on that. And if this will appease him and help us in that way, then it's worth it. So, and I said I would, and it seemed to kind of help nullify him a little bit.
Okay. Um, you mentioned that the drinking wine is your one thing. Can you
Mhm.
elaborate on that a little bit?
I guess it's like that, my daily, like when it comes to in the day, um, I feel like my little thing, helps me with my stress. Like I can cook and drink, and it's just like I can play music, and it kind of helps me, um, you know, in regards to that and enjoy the time. But yeah, I don't quite feel that the rest of the day per se. It's like, PTA meeting, and then it's, school, making sure everyone packed their lunch, and then, groceries, and just getting everyone to their practices. And it's all about other people.
Right.
And then making sure, like my husband feels like he's being seen. And I don't quite feel like I have people see me per se as much on the regular school week.
So you're spending so much time taking care of everyone else that this is your one thing that you get to do for yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like I um should be allowed to. It doesn't feel like it's harming anyone. But it's starting to become a thing with my husband and I. So yeah.
And if you say you limited yourself to just like, I'm just going to drink one glass of wine, is that an option, or is that just not achieving the
Hmm.
effects that you're looking for?
I feel like one glass doesn't help. Um, I feel like it's by like at third glass that I feel chill. And um, yeah, if there was like only one glass left in the bottle, definitely would be like a letdown for me. Like, I
Okay.
mean, I'd still drink it, but then it would be afterwards. I'd feel, yeah, like it wasn't, I'm not drinking it for that one glass.
Are there other things that you like, hobbies or anything else that you like or enjoyed in the past before maybe even having kids, that you really felt like was something that was yours, that you owned, and that was
Mhm.
your time to do something that you really enjoyed?
Mhm. Mm. I mean, I really enjoyed painting a lot. Uh, Felt like it was something that was for me and didn't really have any value outside of the pleasure I got from it. I feel like that's one of the things that I let go of. Um, because it takes a lot of time, and I like my quiet when I do it. Um, and then like when the kids were younger, right? Like you don't want them getting into all your really nice paints that are really expensive. So I think I just like stopped, and now painting feels kind of childish in a way.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, childish. Like it's not like I'm good enough to sell it or make a job out of it. So kind of what do you use it for? It doesn't seem useful.
So doing something that you're not, um, that maybe isn't productive to
Mhm.
outside world, um, seems like not worth it, even if it brings you some joy.
Hmm. Yeah, a little bit. Um, Also painting's so vulnerable, right? You have to kind of put your um emotions into it. And I don't know if I'm ready to do that or want to do that or want to feel things in that way. Yeah.
Okay. You might not like what you see. Is that the fear?
Hmm. I haven't put words to it in that way, but feels true. Yeah, that feels really true. Kind of like ties into the whole resume thing too. Like, what do I have to offer? Um, I don't know, a little insecurity too, right? Like, husband comes with like, how was your day? Oh, I painted this canvas, and it's like not great. It's like I would feel pretty embarrassed. Yeah, so I just have kind of let that slide a little bit, and yeah.
So sounds like a lot of vulnerability kind of
Mhm.
is a theme that's kind of in your life right now, that
Mhm.
potentially you're using the wine to kind of numb that a little bit, avoid it maybe.
I think, I mean, vulnerability in my household growing up was like a called out as a weakness, right? Or made fun of, or something not to be. And I couldn't be either too for like my younger sibling. So it's like uncomfortable to be vulnerable.
Right.
Mhm.
Okay. Um, well, I think we've covered a lot of really great stuff in this session. I do appreciate you being vulnerable with me and opening up. Um, and I think that I would kind of like to, for our next session, maybe go over, and if you want to think about it over the next week, in between sessions, just some things that you might be willing to kind of try out, or um, something that you might be able to do that you can do for your own time, and try it out and see if it's, helping you, bringing you some joy.
Mhm.
And maybe also some coping strategies or something that we can kind of incorporate into your day-to-day routine. Would
Okay.
that work? Does that sound like something that you would be willing to do?
Yeah, yeah, it does. Thank you.
Okay.
I think I could do that.
Well, okay, that sounds great. Well, it was a pleasure talking with you today, and I will see you next week.
Oh, nice seeing you.